When I walk in, every ancestral move. Every cell in my body got an ancient groove. I ain't searching for truth, I embody the proof. You look at me, you see the lineage. Every obstacle shift when I rise in.
Hello, everyone. Happy Friday and welcome back to another round of My Patriot Report Live. I am the bridge connecting the next generation of federal contractor. I am Ratwan Hill. And with me, I have the ambassador of peace. And if you don't know his background, his pedigree, you better ask AI, Mr. Walter Cotton III. Mr. Cotton, happy Friday, man. How you doing?
I'm well. Thank you. What about yourself?
Sir. I'm doing great, man. Doing great. Excited about today. Today is that veteran powwow that, having that real granular discussion with the audience. We've been beating the drum all last week in regards to, the environment, the You Are Here point today. We want to talk about the solutions, the actionable items. So let's just get right into it now. Over the last few days, we've been breaking down very simple but very powerful information. We've been saying we the people still have the power, and this is not just a theoretical statement, guys. If you've been following us this whole week, you've been seeing us posting the constant updates with the co-sponsors who are sponsoring the bill. And actually today we got two more co-sponsors, one for the Veteran Member Business Loan Act, and we got another one for the Contract Our Veterans Act. And actually, matter of fact, let me bring that up so we could show the people exactly what we have here, right? So this is, again, I use Anthropic. I created a tracker that gives us a daily update, and it lets us know when we have a new co-sponsor that signed the bill. So as you can see, we have Representative Carball. Excuse me if I chopped your name up, but he co-sponsored the Veteran Member Business Loan Act. And then we have Representative Haradopoulos from Florida, as he signed he co-sponsored the Contract Our Veterans Act. So big shout out to you gentlemen, and shout out to all the other representatives of the congressmen who is showing their support and showing their loyalty to the patriots that serve this nation.
And what you're doing there, Mr. Hill, is providing the audience with a perfect demonstration of our power as the people. Our representatives in the Senate and the House of Representatives serve at our discretion. And if we give them an indication that we'd like them to support something, they will support it. And so I am going to double down on our ask that you contact your congressman and your senator and ask them to co-sponsor this particular bill, because we're going to need all of our service men and women on deck as we make America safe again, right? As we employ this radical patriotism in order to make America safe again. And what we're simply doing, I think, is demonstrating to America a power that we've always had. And we have the opportunity to deliver a voice into these actions that our administration is employing. And here's a voice that I'd like us to consider delivering during this ceasefire, right? Because right now we have a ceasefire in this action, this incursion that the executive branch has gotten us embroiled in. We have an opportunity to send a clear and complete message to the executive branch that their time is up, right? As it relates to this action. What we would like the executive branch to do is to take advantage of the last authority that they have under our Constitution, which is to utilize the last 30 days that they have in this action to create an extension that opens the door for them to create an orderly withdrawal of our fighting forces from the Middle East. So let me say that another way. I am asking our servicemen and women to deliver a message to Congress that we would like this administration to utilize the last 30 days that the executive branch has under this particular action to withdraw in an orderly fashion and safe fashion our servicemen and women from the Middle East. And if timing serves me correctly, that would suggest that as of the 28th of April, 28th or 29th of April, the 60-day window will have run out, and the executive branch will have to either hit or get off the spot. In the interim, what we need our Congress members to do is we need them to put a vote in place that curtails the ability for there to be any additional kinetic action in this particular event, right? We believe that the pathway to keeping America safe, the pathway to the optimum outcome for the world, is a diplomatic path. And when we're looking at our deal maker in chief delivering outcomes where we have a $51 billion reduction in our available funds for a solution that was less than what we had when we started this campaign, that transaction does not produce the kind of outcome that I want to continue investing in. And so we are asking the Congress to put the executive branch on chill. And I'm kind of going down a rabbit hole here. So let me stop before I get too deep down this rabbit hole. What we're simply asking is the executive branch to use your authority to execute the 30-day extension to create an orderly withdrawal of our troops out of the Middle East. And we're asking Congress to put the adults at the negotiating table so that we can achieve a diplomatic outcome to this particular challenge.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Now, as the 60-day window is approaching, exactly what are the options on the table? Like, we know that one of the options is the president could extend 30 days, which we hope he used those 30 days to pull the troops back. But what are all the options on the table?
Well, when you ask me what are the options, are you asking me what are the options that are authorized by the Constitution? Or are you asking me what are the options that are available to the executive, to this executive branch, right? Because I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I open to the Constitution, so I'm going by strictly what the Constitution says.
Well, from my perspective, the options that the president has is to go to the Congress and request authority, request authorization to proceed in any way, shape, or form or fashion with utilizing our Department of Defense in this Middle East action. That's the option that's available. One of the unilateral options that's available to the president is for him to provide an extension of 30 days of this action that he has unilaterally started that will allow for the orderly exit, the orderly withdrawal of our troops. Those are the things that are within the parameters of the Constitution. There are some things that are outside of the parameters of the Constitution, which I would consider, shenanigans that we want to guard against, because they represent threats to the security of these United States. They represent threats to the Constitution.
Indeed, indeed. And what role should Congress be playing in that moment? Should they be observing? Should they be stepping in? Like, what Congress role should be in that exact moment?
Well, Congress's role is to do the people's business, right? That's Congress' role, right? And so Congress has a role to protect and defend our liberty, our freedom, and anything that infringes upon our right to liberty and the pursuit of property, Congress is duty bound to defend. And so when you have a situation where there are events that are making us economically less sound, that are making us physically less safe, Congress is duty bound to rein those actions in, whether they are actions that are resulting from outside of these United States or whether they are actions that are resulting from within their party.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now, we've been beating the drum about we the people. We actually have a part to play in this as well. So when people hear we the people have the power, what does that actually mean today?
Well, it means that, the people need to be more sophisticated about leveraging their power, right? And not falling for the okey doke planned rallies, marches to nowhere that produce no outcome, right? In today's, AI and Internet of Things and interconnected world, we have the ability to reach out and directly touch our politicians. We have the ability to reach out and directly let them know what our interests and intentions are. But if you're seduced in believing that, a long march nowhere is going to get you the outcome, right, we're going to have this cycle of insanity where we keep doing the same thing over and over again, but get a different result. And so in this instance, this season, what we're suggesting is that you follow our methodologies, which have been very effective, which are going directly to our lawmakers and letting them know what's at stake, right? You have a diet of votes. If you perform in the way that is consistent with our desire, we will ensure that you have a healthy inventory of that. If you don't, you suffer the alternative. Simple.
Yes, sir. What actually happens behind the scenes when people start reaching out to their representative in numbers?
Well, what happens behind the scenes is they scramble, right? Because these aren't poll numbers that are, you're watching on television, right?
Mm-hmm.
These are your real constituents, right, that are calling in and they're actively engaged. And these political players, they know how to feel the pulse of their community because most voters are apathetic. Most voters are passive, right? They go and vote, just because it's election day. So when voters actively engage on an issue, when they actively reach out, that's a telegraph to the congressional member that they need to take that action seriously. So since we have the ability to influence them with the diet of what they are accustomed to eating, we use it. And an example of our power in this area came from what we were able to do at the policy level, right? When the secretary of the SBA had the ill-fated idea of changing the policy on how our disabled veterans would be compensated for their disabilities based on the utilization of medication. And when they floated that idea along the normal process, right? It was a proposed ruling, right? It was a proposed rule change. That's the ultimate way our statute and laws are implemented. The appointed secretaries have the ability to create rules in the agencies that interpret the statute. So this secretary thought that he was going to interpret a statute that was not in the favor of the veteran community. And we reached out and touched them en masse. And within days, what would have been a negative impact to our veteran community went away. We are looking at the same kind of an outcome here. We need our Congress to engage on behalf of the people. We know that you're seeing the same things that we're seeing. We know you're seeing the same shenanigans and threats that we're seeing. We need you to do something about it right now. And if you don't, there is a price to pay. And you know what? I have a challenge delivering that kind of a language because I'm a former service member, but I'm now a part of the Patriot Army, right? I'm a part of, those American citizens that are looking out for what's in the best interest of these United States, right? Not some interest group, right? Not some foreign nation, right? And so when we see behavior and action that threatens the security of our children, we see some actions that threaten the possibility of our communities. We don't just sit by idly. We get involved. And that's what you're seeing now. Engagement.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So what I'm hearing you say is the more pressure we put on them, that results into them actually performing the actions that is in the best interest for the United States.
Yes, and it's unfortunate that it's got to be that way,
Yeah.
right? Because you sign up to an elected office, to purportedly do the best for your community, right? For your neighbors and your friends. But over time, right, the invisible hand has snuck in and has moved the needle, and our congressmen and our senators have gotten into this ideation, this belief of entitlement, right? And so the moral foundations within those offices have been challenged. You just need to look at the local news reports today about, what they're willing to tell us, right? About the open secrets, right? That finally caused these congressmen to resign. I want to say that again. The open secrets that finally caused these congressmen to resign. They weren't expelled. They weren't kicked out of Congress, right? They were allowed to resign. So what we need to do is we need to recognize if it looks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it smells like a duck, it's a duck. And we, the people, need to make sure that our representation is commensurate with what we want. And that's not shucky ducky quack quack.
Yes, sir. Yeah, absolutely. Now, when we say economic patriotism, what does that actually mean in real life, economic patriotism?
Well, I can only speak from the foundation of a former service man or woman, right?
Mm-hmm.
And from that perspective or point of view, my business is designed to produce fair value, right, for a reasonable wage. And I'm not looking to gouge the customers that I work with. I'm not looking to gouge the communities that I live in. And so I believe that if we have the kind of need that we are facing right now, which has a economic requirement for us to reshore our manufacturing capacity within this country, I think that those individuals who are creating those businesses should be individuals that are looking to deliver a fair value for a fair wage, not war profiteers, right, that are looking to, maximize the trade that comes from insider information. And so radical economic patriotism starts with the first mindset that says, I need to make an investment. I need to make a sacrifice now for the future generations, right? I'm going to live well, right? I'm going to eat well. My family is going to do okay. But the investment that I'm making right now is for generations that I won't get an opportunity to see. That's the foundation of radical economic patriotism.
Sir, yes, sir. Now, we know we like to focus especially on our veteran, service disabled veteran communities. Where do veterans fit into that equation? How do they connect to the direct national security, the security of this nation?
Well, right now, these bills, specifically the Contract Our Veteran bill, is designed to allow them to directly contribute to the revitalization efforts that we have. The ability to bring that organic patriotism. I was going to say radical patriotism, but that organic patriotism to the revitalization needs that we have as a nation. And so that's where our veterans fit in. If we empower them with the ability to participate as jobs creating agents in their community, they have the ability to be one of the most important things that every community needs right now, right? Which is a jobs producer, a jobs creator. And so our veterans play a very, very central and vital role, if you will, to the revitalization, to the reshoring, to the economic security that we're going to enjoy moving forward.
Yes, sir. And now we got the Contract Our Veterans Act, and then we got the Veteran Members Business Loan Act. Why is access Why is access to capital just as important as access to contracts? We know that's one of the biggest things that small businesses struggle with is access to capital.
You said it in one sentence, right? Vetrepreneurs are small business owners, right? And those small businesses need the resources that are required to seed their businesses for growth. Capital is one of those foundational assets. And when we have a institution out there like our credit unions, right, the military credit unions that can make loans available to our veterans, right, under the 504 or 7A loan program, and they're restricted, we are curtailing an access to a vital function, a vital resource that businesses need and our vetrepreneurs need. So the bottom line is that the bill that is accompanying our Contract the Veterans Act is a part of the fuel that our vetrepreneurs will need in order to guarantee or ensure their success.
Yes, sir. And the fact of the matter is that's not the only way veterans, well, I would say disabled veterans, is another pathway as well for disabled veterans to receive capital. And that's what we've been sounding the alarm on for veterans for quite a while, which is the disabled veteran population, which is the VNRE self-employment track, which is another pathway for those veterans who served, who had left the service with a service-connected disability. So simply put, it's a lot of pathways for veterans to be able to capital stack to come up with a solution that can empower their community.
You're right, but the problem is they're not being educated to what those options are. Right. Mm-hmm. Until it's too late in many instances. Right. Mm-hmm. And so what we saw recently, and we should talk about this in greater detail, is a article that actually framed the reason why veterans, at least Gulf War veterans moving forward, are over indexing in employment. Right. There's a systemic reason why veterans aren't indexing at 50% or greater. And we think that once we understand what that reason is, we can put simple systems in place that we need in place today, because we're losing access to thousands of jobs, right? If AI isn't pulling those jobs off of the shelf, and we're not talking about manual positions, we're talking about white collar, right, jobs. Mm-hmm. As those jobs get pulled out of our ecosystem, they're going to have to be replaced with something, right? And what I'm suggesting to our vetrepreneurs, especially those that, bought the memo, right? You took the double dipper, right? You got your retirement, right? And then you got your GS position. And so you're double dipping and you're in the upper middle class, right? That GS position can go away tomorrow. That employment position with that contractor can go away tomorrow, and you are not going to be able to survive as you were off of your military pension. And so as a result of that, you need to be pivoting right now so that you can insulate yourself against the oncoming onslaught. And what we are aggressively encouraging you to do is to take a look at that benefit that you have as a service disabled veteran right now, and the benefit that you will have as a veteran-owned small business to contribute to the revitalization needs to participate in the new economy that is emerging in these United States of America.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And that's something powerful. Yeah, and I would love to dive in deeper about the transition assistance program and the solutions that we have identified that would essentially help those service members who are about to transition into civilian world to make their transition as a easy process. I did want to share with the audience the site, our group that we have, the Last Veterans Command Center, that for everybody who want to support the movement, they support veterans, or if you are the veteran and you want to be able to understand, learn, and know how you can be active in the veteran community to make a difference, how you can learn how to joint venture, how to partner, how to correctly be able to create that bigger small business, you should join the community. And also, we ask that you guys come help us support us by scanning the barcode, which allows you guys to donate to us so we can keep pushing the narrative and pushing the message and fighting for the veteran rights that we so rightfully earned.
Can you bring this back to full screen for a minute, Mr. Hill? Because I'd like to put out another call to action, because no organization that has the big, hairy, audacious goals like the one that we have is going to get there in a vacuum, right? So what we need is the guns, lawyers, and extra ammunition that are a part of the veteran community to come join us. Right. So if there is a skill set that you have in, let's say social media editing, or there's a skill set that you have in organizational development, we need you to join the command center. We need you to join the Elite Service Disabled Veteran Owned Small Business Network so that we can bring your skill sets to this particular mission. Nothing in this world occurs without a demand, right? Let me see if I can say that the way I meant to say that, because I screwed that up trying to be cool. There is an adage out there that says power succeeds nothing without a demand. We need to make a demand against the existing power structure so that we can get the resources that we need to change this particular game. And I'm going to leave it there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And guys, please keep beating down your Congress office door and asking them to co-sponsor. So what I want to do is also just walk you guys through the site one more time for the individuals who may be new to this, and for the audience who just need a refresher. So and I also want to share something new that we didn't share exactly. I'll start with first. You see the individuals who's been pushing this message for years, Mr. William Bill Elmore, and you can look at his pedigree, and of course yours truly, Mr. Cotton, and his pedigree and his 20 plus years of advocacy and fighting for veterans' rights. But I also want to point your attention just for maybe the new individuals who don't know how to exactly send the message in the proper way to your Congress. So there's also a template down here for you guys that simply allows you to copy and paste and just ask them to co-sponsor the two bills, the Contract Out Veterans Act and the Veteran Member Business Loan Act. And from there, I'll scroll back up for where you could go at to actually contact your Congress. So if you click this Contact Your Congress button, it'll take you to, let me go back for you. It'll take you to this site right here where you can directly find your Congress, submit your address, pulls up all of your congressmen, write to them, and here is where you can copy and paste that exact template and ask them to support those Contract Out Veterans Act and Veteran Member Business Loan Act. So please beat down the door and ask them to keep co-sponsoring. Let's keep building on this momentum that we got, because I believe now we're at like 3 or 4 co-sponsors this week. So that seems like good momentum to me. What's your thoughts on that, Mr. Kai?
Absolutely. I mean, and what Congress is demonstrating is they're responsive to this particular need, and the need that they're responsive to is demonstrating their patriotic commitment to him and her who bore the battle. So this one is an alley-oop, right? The Congress wants to pass it. We need them to demonstrate their commitment to our community. And this is just the beginning. So please, as Mr. Hill says, go out to that site, contact your House of Representative member, contact your senator, and ask them to co-sponsor that bill before it gets passed into law.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, indeed. Did you have any final messages that you want to leave with everybody?
No, I just need them to know that, this ain't over until we win.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And on that note, guys, I am Ratwan Hill, and that is the Mr. Walter Cotton III. Y'all have a great weekend. We're out.